And I'll be honest, Randy, look, this guy, I don't disagree. Hall of Fame kicker. But quite honestly, I'm more surprised when he makes it than he misses right now. Like, this guy's missed 10 kicks.
Yeah.
10 kicks.
The Ravens have a situation. It's a situation I never thought that we would be addressing. Justin Tucker has not been good.
Justin Tucker is debatably the greatest kicker in NFL history. And if you disagree with that, then without a doubt, the best kicker of our generation. He's made 60-plus yard game-winning field goals look easy, but now he is the sole reason that the Baltimore Ravens have lost 5 games this season. What happened to Justin Tucker? When did it start? And can his problem be fixed? But more importantly, how longer can the Ravens rely on Justin Tucker before it comes back to ruin their season? Before we get to the content, we are less than 18,000 subscribers away from hitting 1 million subscribers, so make sure you subscribe and turn on our notifications to help us get there. And now that we get all that out of the way, break! So we're pretty much being given free money again. You remember on Thanksgiving when Tyreek Hill only needed 1 receiving yard, and then we just need to make 1 correct prediction to 3x our money? And we hit on Thanksgiving, and now all Patrick Mahomes needs is 1 passing yard versus the Cleveland Browns. So we only need to make 1 prediction to 3x our money again. To take advantage of this opportunity, click the link in the description down below, or use my promo code Mikerophone when you sign up for Prize Picks to get a free $50 when you make a play of $5 or more. Now, unfortunately, I already 3x'd my money. Yeah, I paired Patrick Mahomes with Josh Allen throwing for over 242 passing yards versus the LA Rams, and could you blame me? The Rams are one of the worst passing defenses in the entire league, and I was certain this was gonna hit. Now, I posted this pick onto my Instagram story, so if you followed me on Instagram, you would have seen that pick, but if you didn't, don't worry. I still make plenty of picks on a daily basis for you to pair the Patrick Mahomes free square with another one of my favorite picks for this upcoming weekend, and I have a pretty good track record of hitting whenever we have a free square. So make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone when you sign up for Prize Picks to get a free $50 when you make a play of $5 or more, and hurry up and sign up before they move the lines, because we want to take advantage of the odds we have. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Let's get one thing straight before we talk about how and why Justin Tucker has been the worst kicker in the NFL this season. There's no question about it. Up until this season, Justin Tucker was one of the greatest kickers of all time, maybe even the greatest of all time depending on who you ask. To give you an idea of how good Tucker has been, prior to the 2023 NFL season, Justin Tucker was the most accurate kicker of all time, converting just over 91% of his kicks. He had the best field goal percentage on kicks 40 yards or more, the best field goal percentage on kicks 50 yards or more, and in 2022 he became the only kicker in NFL history with multiple 60-plus go-ahead or game-winning field goals in the final minute of the game. Mind you, one of those kicks was also the longest kick in NFL history at the time, with the kick being marked as a 66-yard game-winning field goal against the Detroit Lions. Now obviously since then, that record has been tied by Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey, who seems to have taken the throne as the premier kicker in the NFL and is probably one of the only bright spots of the Dallas Cowboys' terrible roster. But we're not going to make this video about the Dallas Cowboys like I usually do, and at the same time we cannot discount the greatness that Justin Tucker has displayed at the kicking position.
I think this just continues to solidify his place as the best kicker the NFL has ever seen.
Not only is Justin Tucker statistically the best kicker of all time, but he has the most individual accolades by a kicker of all time as well. Just to put into perspective how dominant he's been, Justin Tucker has missed just 8 kicks from 40 to 49 yards from 2013 to 2021, which is just a mere 3 more misses than the time he's been selected first team All-Pro in that time span. That is absolutely insane. Justin Tucker was the greatest kicker on the planet, and then suddenly everything changed.
They have to consider something different, right?
Yeah, of course they have to. I mean, you have to do right by your football team.
Going into the 2024 NFL season, it's not like everything had been going right for Justin Tucker as of late. He still had 2 good seasons the last few years, but in 2023, he was statistically dethroned as the most accurate kicker in NFL history, after converting just 86% of his field goal attempts the last 2 years. The 2 worst percentages of his career career since 2015. Now, one would think that this is just a fluke. Justin Tucker was still the man who had kicked that 66-yard field goal against the Detroit Lions, and the man who holds the record for most All-Pro selections as a kicker. So one would imagine that he could rebound. But in week 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs, Justin Tucker would miss this 53-yard attempt to make the ball game a 3-point contest. The Ravens would lose that game by 1 possession. The very next week, Justin Tucker would miss a similar 56-yard field goal to extend Baltimore's lead over the Raiders by 3. And this would come back to bite Baltimore big time, as they would lose that game by just 3 points. But it would get even worse from there. The very next week against the Dallas Cowboys, in a duel against the young up-and-coming Brandon Aubrey, who was looking to dethrone the legendary Justin Tucker, Tucker's struggles continued as he missed this 46-yard kick, which, if you remember the fact that Justin Tucker statistically was the most accurate kicker from the 40 to 49 yard, this should be his bread and butter. Justin Tucker would stay perfect over the next 4 weeks, but then would come a huge game versus the Cleveland Browns, one of the worst teams in the NFL, where he would end up missing a 50-yarder from the right hash. And when you consider the fact that the Baltimore Ravens would lose to the Cleveland Browns by 5 points, those 3 points could have made all the difference in the final moments of the game. Over the following 2 weeks, Justin Tucker would perform decently, but not by Justin Tucker standards by any means. I mean, yeah, he wouldn't miss a field goal, but he would miss this extra point against the Cincinnati Bengals, which he was lucky didn't impact the outcome. But after that game, the wheels completely fell off for Justin Tucker. I mean, in week 11 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Ravens were locked in a defensive battle with their most competitive division rival, and any and all points were coming at a premium. Steelers kicker Chris Boswell completely embarrassed Justin Tucker on national TV, literally kicking his team to victory, making 6 field goals to give the Steelers 18 points. And on the other hand, when Justin Tucker was expected to answer Chris Boswell, he let his team down on a national stage. First off, Tucker missed this 47-yard field goal to tie the game early. Then a few drives later, he missed this 50-yard field goal to maintain the Steelers' lead at 3 points. Sure, Tucker ended up kicking this 54-yard bomb later in the game, but at the end it didn't matter. The Ravens lost that game by 2 points. In a game that Justin Tucker could have literally won for the Ravens with his leg, he ended up losing to Chris Boswell. And when you consider that Tucker was responsible for leaving 6 points off of the scoreboard, it wouldn't be a stretch to say that this loss was on him. But instead of taking full responsibility, Justin Tucker would give a very peculiar response.
Here yesterday too, was the surface an issue at all?
I wouldn't say the service was an issue, but it wasn't ideal.
Not to bury one of the best kickers of all time, but coming out and saying that the surface wasn't ideal for kicking when the opposing kicker was able to make all of his field goals is just not the greatest look. Now, his head coach John Harbaugh did everything he could to back up the kicker that has carried him over the past decade.
Yeah, Tuck needs to make kicks. He knows that. That's important. He makes them in practice, and he made the long one later, which is good to see, which means he's still very capable of it. Kick him straight, we'll be good.
Later in the week, Tucker added his own analysis of his kicking, and to be honest, it's pretty enlightening to his process and his mindset.
Well, if you just take the 10,000-foot view and you look at, where all the kicks have gone, they've gone just wide left. So, and you just mentioned it, at the exact same time, each kick, kind of lives in its own world, but. The adjustment is pretty clear. I just need to make it a point not to let the ball carry to the left.
This seemed like the lowest of the low points for Justin Tucker, but you would think at this point he would shake off the rust and figure out a way to resolve his issues. From now on forward, we would finally see a rebuilt and new Justin Tucker. Well, that wouldn't end up happening. As a matter of fact, things would continue to get ugly for Justin Tucker. A few weeks later against the Philadelphia Eagles, you could say that once again, Justin Tucker kicked the game away. After an incredible touchdown reception by Mark Andrews, Justin Tucker doinks the extra point attempt right off of the left upright. Next, to start off the third quarter, Tucker would shank a 47-yard attempt that would have given Baltimore the lead, keeping the score at 14-12. To cap off this disaster class, later in the quarter, Justin Tucker misses this 53-yard field goal wide right, which to his credit at least wasn't shanked this time like all the other misses. Now, the Eagles would end up defeating the Baltimore Ravens by 5 points, and guess how many points Justin Tucker took off of the board with his leg? 6. He took off 6 points, which is the exact number the Ravens needed to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. After the game, it was clear that Justin Tucker lost his confidence. The familiar feeling of having the weight of the world on his shoulders, then being lifted after an amazing kick, was now replaced with the same weight crushing him in ways that he's never felt before.
Simply as I can put it, I miss the kicks, and I'll leave it at that. I just left the points out there. I feel like I cost us this one, but it doesn't really do anybody any good to dwell on it. The only thing that we can do, that I can do, is just continue to work, move forward, take one kick at a time.
After being solely responsible for losing this game, and debatably others, fans, analysts, and even reporters were calling for Justin Tucker's job. Sure, he is a legend of the position and will without a doubt be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he was a main cause for many of the Ravens' losses this season, and if Baltimore intends on going on a deep playoff run, they needed a leg that they can rely on.
Justin Tucker has walked into this season as the most accurate kicker in NFL history. 8 field goals, 2 extra points, missed 3 yesterday. This is a situation that has regressed significantly.
Despite all of the rightful criticism, Ravens head coach and former special teams coordinator John Harbaugh stood firm on the decision he made a few weeks prior.
If you're asking me if we're going to move on from Justin Tucker, I'm not really planning on doing that right now. I don't think that'd be wise.
Justin Tucker is making just 70% of his field goals this season. He's missed out on 22 potential points for his team, which ironically is the same combined margin of loss in all 5 of the Ravens' losses this season. And Tucker is on pace for his worst year as a pro. But there is a solution. I hate to be the bearer of bad news to AFC North fans, but no, Justin Tucker's not washed, and there is a way to solve this catastrophe. Which brings us to my theory to what could potentially be wrong with Justin Tucker. Many have speculated that since punter Sam Cock retired a few years ago, Justin Tucker's new holder Jordan Stout, who the team drafted in 2022, has been the reason for Tucker's sharp decline. And honestly, the numbers back it up. There's a direct correlation to this. According to ESPN, Justin Tucker made over 90% of his kicks with Koch as his holder from 2012 to 2022. Since then, with Stout as his holder, Justin Tucker is missing 10% more kicks, converting those attempts at a mediocre 81.4%. Okay, so we're done. Video's over. Okay, no, it's really not that simple. According to Fresno State's special teams coach John Baxter, who has been working on special teams at the collegiate level for 35 years, it's not Stout's fault at all. Not only are those holds exceptional, their operation is the envy of the league. Their snap hold kick process is one that a lot of people try to emulate. According to Baxter, these kicks are all missing wide left for one key reason. Justin Tucker is not timing his body motion with his kicking leg as well as he's done in the past. To try to make this sound as easy as possible, look at this example used in the SB Nation article. It's hard to understand, but if you kick the football at different locations and different angles, it will drastically change the direction. And as a kicker, you want to consistently kick the football in the middle to go straight. But since Justin Tucker's consistently missing left, then he is likely hitting the ball too late in his kicking motion. And even special teams icon Bill Belichick agrees that this issue isn't on the holder, it's more of a fundamental kicking issue.
When I look at Tucker, I don't see a lack of talent. He still has great height on the ball. Clearly, there's some fundamental technique thing that he's not doing consistently, caused him to miss both to the left and to the right.
Now, I'm never going to pretend that I know more about kicking a football than Justin Tucker. This is just some analysis. And who knows, maybe it is the holder. But from an outsider looking in who has listened to people who have spent their entire lives studying special teams, this seems like a fundamental issue with Tucker's kicking motion. The reason for that? I have no clue. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that he gained 4 pounds for the NFL's new kickoff, which might have thrown off his balance slightly. But that's just pure speculation. And to be honest, fairly wild speculation if you ask me. Like Bill Belichick has said, Tucker still has the distance, and it's not like he's aged out of the position either, as Adam Vinatieri kicked until he was 47, and even Matt Prater, who is 40 years old, is kicking balls as far as he's ever kicked them. But something is up with Justin Tucker, and I don't think it's a permanent thing, and I do believe in the long term that Justin Tucker will rebound. However, as of right now, the Ravens do need to think about whether or not they will keep Justin Tucker around for their playoff push. And I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen a more promising Ravens team since their Super Bowl run. They have one of the most devastating offenses in the NFL. And given the way some of the end of these Chiefs games are going, there's no question about it that the Ravens could potentially make a run to the Super Bowl this year. But if Justin Tucker can't be there to separate them from the pack, then maybe it's worth taking a shot on someone from the streets who you at least know can make mid 40-yard kicks consistently. I don't know if this is my own trauma as a football fan, but this Ravens season is giving me a similar feeling as to what happened to the Randall Cunningham-led 1998 Minnesota Vikings, who had the best kicker in the entire NFL. And when things mattered the most, Gary Anderson missed the kick that would have sent the Vikings to the Super Bowl. And I just would hate for that to happen to the Baltimore Ravens because they haven't experienced tremendous playoff success in the Lamar Jackson era. And I feel like this year could actually be their year. No, not like that. But let me know in the comment section down below, do you think Justin Tucker's washed, or do you think this is just a mid-career crisis? If Justin Tucker does move on from the Ravens, which team would you like to see him on next season? Let me know in the comment section down below. Apart from that, Travis Hunter seems to be one of the most dynamic stars in college football. But would his skill set translate to the NFL? Well, we have a completely separate video on that, and I'll leave it in the end screen. And aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.